Welcome to On the Brink with Andi Simon. Thank you for joining us today. As you know, our job is to get you off the brink. And it's really an honor and a privilege for me to bring to you people who are going to help you do what you could do as an anthropologist. See, feel, and think in new ways that you might not be able to do on your own. And so the stories they're going to tell you today are very impactful and they're very transformative, and it really reflects on the work they're doing to help women across the globe, particularly in Afghanistan and Rwanda. So let me tell you about why today we're going to talk about peace through business. We have an amazing three-part webinar series that we've compiled because we've been so impressed and really touched, inspired by what Peace Through Business is trying to do. Peace Through Business is a program that has empowered thousands of women entrepreneurs. And remember, we're entrepreneurs and we love working with entrepreneurs, but they're working in post-conflict regions through education, mentorship, and power of business. Now, when you listen, it's more than about running a business. It's about transforming the communities in which they are doing business and really building a place for the women and their families and their friends and their colleagues so that the whole community rises together. Through these three episodes, we're going to explore how Peace Through Business began in Afghanistan, and Manizha Wafeq is going to tell you about it, and expanded to Rwanda, and Chantel is going to help you there. And then we're going to continue to thrive as a global movement for women's leadership and economic freedom. And then Monica Smiley is going to help you with Terry Neese, tell you about why this is such an important program. Ladies, thank you for joining me so much today. It's truly a privilege and a pleasure. You're smiling, Manisha. This has taken some real clever figuring out how to bring all these great women together to begin to talk about something that's really extraordinary. I'd like to start by introducing Monica Smiley. Let me just tell you a little bit about Monica. She's the editor and publisher of Enterprising Women, a national and now global magazine. She and her team launched in 2000. That seems like yesterday, but it's a long time ago. And now it provides a strong voice for women entrepreneurs. And she's also president and founder of Enterprising Women Foundation that's managing the Peace Through Business program. I'm going to let her introduce Dr. Terry Neese, and they have a great intimacy. And I think that would be a great way for both of you to begin to introduce both what we're doing and why this is so important to listen to. Monica, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Andi. We so appreciate the opportunity to be a part of your podcast and really excited to share the Peace Through Business story with you. And yes, I'm honored to be here with Dr. Terry Neese, who is the founder of the Peace Through Business program. And I think, as you mentioned, Andi, in the third segment of your podcast, Terry and I will have a chance to really talk more about the history of this program going back 20 years when she first met Laura Bush and had an opportunity to get things started. But for today, we're pleased to just give a little bit of introduction as Manizha takes over most of the podcast today, focusing on our work in Afghanistan. As you mentioned, it'll be 20 years since Terry started the Peace Through Business program as part of her nonprofit, the Institute for Economic Empowerment of Women, or IEW. And last year, we're so proud that the Peace Through Business program did become a part of the Enterprising Women Foundation, which, as you said, is a sister nonprofit to Enterprising Women magazine. Terry and I have been friends for more than 25 years, right, Terry? It's been a long time.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've had an opportunity to be a mentor in the Peace Through Business program, starting that very first year when I met Manizha. And Terry and I went back a few years prior to that. She helped with the startup of Enterprising Women, so we have known each other a long time. I had the opportunity to serve on Terry's board of directors for 11 years. So it was really a natural fit for Peace Through Business to become a part of the Enterprising Women Foundation and to really join the program with our global community of women entrepreneurs. We're so thrilled about that. And again, we'll share more of the history on that last podcast, but today we're going to focus, I believe, on Afghanistan. And Terry, I just wanted to ask you to share, if you would, you and I have both watched, and especially you, Manizha really grow into her role over the last almost 20 years. And I know you two have a very strong bond. We are so proud that Manizha really is an internationally respected leader on Afghanistan, on the rights of women in Afghanistan, particularly as it relates to women in business in her country. Terry, would you share a couple words about what Manizha means to this program? I think to lead into her part of this program, I think it might be valuable for Andi's listeners to have a better understanding.
Sure. Yes, absolutely. I met Manizha Wafeq in Afghanistan and spoke to her and asked her to tell me what she was doing and was she going to the United States. And she said she thought she wanted to do that. In fact, I met many women that she met and talked to me about who they are and what they were doing at that particular time. Manizha was already getting information on how she will take care of many Afghan women business owners. And soon Manizha went to USA. I knew that Manizha wanted to go to the USA and she did it. And I'm proud of her for doing that. She now has many, many women in the USA, and I hope she continues to work with Afghanistan women and USA women as well. God bless you, Manizha. I'm proud of you. You are wonderful. I must say that Laura Bush spoke and wanted to talk to Manizha because of this. And it was at the White House, and it was honesty. It was just so great. Chantal in Rwanda, and she's incredible, wonderful woman. Knows everybody. Everybody seems to be in everything. And I just want you to know, Chantal, that you are awesome. God bless both of you.
Thanks, Terry. Well, we're so proud. Manizha does run our program in Afghanistan, hosting the program virtually now. For many years, she ran the program in person, traveling to the various provinces. She has an incredible network in the country. And I think, Andi, what you'll learn as Manizha talks a little bit more today about the program as it's transitioned during the period under the takeover of the Taliban, the tremendous challenges that women there are facing, and just the important role that Peace Through Business is providing to give these women education, hope for their future. And we couldn't be more proud of her work. So, Andi, let me pass it back to you, and
Well,
we can hear more from Manizha.
Dr. Neese, thank you for that nice introduction. And Monica, this is really a transformative program. Just for the listeners' sake, Chantal will have a whole section for herself to talk about Rwanda. And now let me talk, and it's really quite profound what's going on there and what she's experienced. So you're going to have to come from this first webinar to the second to get the whole picture of what Peace Through Business is trying to achieve. Manizha, just so to set the stage for what you're going to talk about, she's the director of the program, Afghanistan. She's an Afghan American woman, and she's actively advocating for the economic rights of Afghan women. She graduated from this program in 2007, and since then has been training, mentoring Afghan women entrepreneurs. And I do think that if you know more about both what she's done and the women she's taken at the hands and helped lift, and the program itself, you'll see this isn't inconsequential. This is a major transformative program. And you're shaking your head. I've said enough. Your turn. Manizha, tell us about both yourself and the program, please.
Sure. Thank you, Andi. Thank you, Monica and Dr. Terry. It's really an honor and a pleasure have been part of this program for the last 19, almost 20 years. So how it all started, it was, it's important for the listeners to know as well. More than 20 years ago, Mrs. Bush, Laura Bush, reached out to Dr. Terry Neese to go to Afghanistan. As Terry said, she visited Afghanistan in 2006. So that was based on the request from Mrs. Bush. And of course, Dr. Terry was the best choice as she has been a very active advocate of women-owned businesses in the US and was a founder and co-founder of various advocacy organizations and organizations providing services and training to women businesses in this country. So that's why she was the best to also create a program for women-owned businesses. And this was right at that time when the US, United States, had defeated Taliban in 2002 and had established its presence together with the international community to fight terrorism and help the country recover economically and as well as rebuild and develop overall the country and its people. And it made sense that women were supported to become entrepreneurs and foreground economic actors because Afghan women were economic actors, but very much in the background and not seen in the foreground, and especially the dark years of the Taliban from 1995 until 2001. They were fully erased from the society, like it's happening now. So Terry traveled, came back, established this great program, Peace Through Business, one of its kind, unique program from various aspects. First of all, that when she started this program through the funding of the private sector. She didn't reach out to the government entities, and she did that purposefully. She wanted to have a very independence and freedom of creating the program on its pace and not worrying about reporting and having that tight hand when you have to deal with government funding. So that was very unique aspect of the program that she initiated it with the private sector funding. Second, that this program, the way she designed it like for a learning purpose and a learning process, not a one-shot training program to bring women in a class and train them for, let's say, a week and give them certificates and say, okay, great, now you're trained.
And they go back and don't know what to do.
No, but more.
That's a brilliant idea. Please.
Great, yes, and that has been one of the reasons that I have also remained part of the program because from day one, when I came and I saw that, wow, the program is designed so well for learning purpose and for applying your skills and knowledge that you learn in your business. So then I was like, okay, I am committed to stay with the program as long as I can to transfer and use this process for other training and mentoring other women. And the third aspect of the program being unique is its paying forward component. Since day one, when we bring women to the program, or when I was brought to the program in the first year, 2007, we are told that as women business owners, you have to be actively participating in your community. You have to do policy advocacy. Otherwise, Terry's famous quote that I always use is otherwise, if you, as a business owner, if you don't participate in policy making, policies will run your business. So that was, that part of it, that they encouraged us to become advocates and active community members and paid forward. And that's why in both of our countries, Afghanistan and as well as Rwanda, I'm glad Chantal is here as well. We established our alumni association and we were very active through our alumni associations. So yes, with that, we trained more than 900 women in Afghanistan, Andi.
Manisha, tell us some stories if you can. I love the way story makes us come alive. You're a story unto yourself. But I know there are other women you have shared with us who and they're trying to recreate themselves with the Taliban there now. But share with our listeners or our viewers some of the real life stories that you have experienced that can help them understand how powerful this is. Please.
Stories. I mean, 900, more than 900 women throughout these years. There are all 900 stories that are
I
amazing,
know.
that are heart warming, inspiring, and has been my energy, at least for all these years, to keep on working with them. So, for example, I remember we trained the first women-owned printing press, which was a non-traditional sector for Afghan women to get into. It was fully male dominant, and overall, it was a new sector as well after 2002 when we started reconstructing the country. The first women gym owner, Cobra, I still remember her. Unfortunately, she's no more in the country because of the Taliban's presence now. She had established this gym where she had bigger goal, not only for her to earn as a fitness center for women to come and exercise, but more to create that culture of women looking after themselves, looking after their health and body, and making sure that it becomes a culture of Afghan women going to gym. Because, as I said, this was not something very traditional in Afghanistan, and especially that we all had started after a dark era of the Taliban, 1995 to 2001, when women were erased from the society. I remember all various, like women in logistics, construction, IT, many of those first ones, um, media, exporters and importers. One of them, Benazir, I remember, she was the first one who sold her jewelry that year when she came and joined our class, Peace Through Business class. She said she sold her jewelry. She wanted to get into exporting dry fruits. She had no idea of how to do it, but she had that aspiration, and it was so inspiring. And for me to look at them, that they have that daring courage, right? That without knowing, she wanted to dive into this field, which was also, by the way, a very non-traditional and a sector that women were not part of in those years. So she did. She put together her business plan while being in the class. I personally had an opportunity to travel with her to an expo in India and train her on how to deal with the customers, how to talk about the product, how to negotiate the prices, shipment, and everything. And there she was. She became one of the biggest exporter before the Taliban. She was off the business for 4 years now, but now she has resumed it. I'm in touch with her. Um, what else? I mean, all kinds of stories I have. We together, Andy, a number of us, Peace Through Business alumni, together with some of the women, other women business owners, got together, established um, uh, an advocacy organization that led to become the first Afghanistan Women's Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I mean, as big as that, Women's Chamber of Commerce. Majority of our board members were Peace Through Business graduates. And we were able to bring a number of policy changes. We changed the government's procurement law and the benefit of Afghan women. We took the example of the US because here there were some reservations for women-owned and minority-owned businesses. That's how we convinced our government. We changed the industrial parks land allocation procedure. Um, we changed and sensitized a number of policies, export promotion, national trade policy, and several others, where we incorporated women business owners into those documents and procedures of the government.
Manisha, as a listener is making sense out of this, and whether they'd like to donate or mentor, maybe it would be helpful if you can explain exactly the training program itself as a systematic program for developing their skills. Because to your point, I want to do something is a long way from being successful at it. And it isn't an event that you go to and come out a better entrepreneur. You have a really well thought through program that has been able to take smart people, women, and turn them into exceptional entrepreneurs, turning an idea into an innovation. Give us some idea of how it works.
It's very easy. We have website. Our website is www.enterprisingwomenfoundation.org, where they can see a specific page on Peace Through Business program. They can read all the details, stories, reports, as well as there's a donation button, and as well as there's a button for them to join as volunteers and as mentors to our women. And it's very important, Andy, for our supporters to come forward and help us, because more than any other time, we need to continue this program. In Afghanistan, look at it. After wonderful 20 years of us Afghan women and our international allies working on women's rights and girls' rights, and the many accomplishments that we achieved for women and girls in that country, all of them were paused overnight by Taliban's retakeover on August 15, 2021. And for the last 4 years, again, women and girls have been erased from the public eyes and from the society, with over 130 edicts, instructions, and decrees that Taliban have issued, banning and restricting women and girls from their basic rights. Is a difficult situation to live in, right? And it's a situation, very obvious situation of gender apartheid, because ruling authority, Taliban, are institutionally oppressing and restricting women and girls from their basic rights. So clearly, it's a gender apartheid situation, and we all, as global citizens now, we all are global citizens. We have responsibility towards each other, to really make sure that no human rights violation happen in no corner of this world. And so really, I would encourage our listeners, our supporters, to share this further, and make sure to log into www.enterprisingwomenfoundation.org and read on Peace Through Business program, donate, and become part of it as funders, donors, volunteers, and mentors.
Let me ask you a follow-up question to that. And that is, if we do donate, how does this get through to the women in a culture that has put them back into the home and locked the door? What are some of the channels that can help them run their business from their home, still remain part of this? It is, as you think about it, I want the audience to begin to understand that this is both not unique there, but also there's still ways of being very productive and hopeful. And so, can you give us some idea about how the women are reinventing themselves?
Yes, definitely. Their support will directly benefit women inside the country. There are thousands of women who are who have been running their home-based businesses, but also there are other thousands of women, professional women, who were working for the government, no more able to work for the government, who were working for nonprofit sector, NGOs, not able anymore to work. Who are working for other private sector, not as entrepreneurs, but as employees of the private sector, are not able anymore to work because of the economic crisis as well. And so many of them have now turned into becoming home-based entrepreneurs. In our this year's class, we have a number of them. In our opening, Monica and Terry were there when we listened to a number of them, there was one who was a university teacher. Can you believe it? University teacher who has now become a home-based entrepreneur. And all she said is that she has this smartphone that she can log into to attend our classes and learn how to build this home-based business and not only create job for herself, but also for a number of other women in their homes. So all what we can do to support the tenacity and resilience that those women have, with providing them training, with providing them small grants if we can, and with spreading the word about their life and stories with the world.
I do think that was exactly what I wanted you to say, because it is, people buy the story, they live the story. And the more we can make this come alive for them, the more they can see this as, okay, this is the world we're in. How do we create hope for women who are talented and skilled and educated and lived in a different world and now have to change and do it differently as well? And for the community who's watching, this becomes a time for thinking about how can I participate with them, be part of it, and in fact use my own entrepreneurial skills to find ways to spread the word, raise interest and skills, and be helpful. And I do think that that is a time for us as well. I don't think this is safe anywhere for women to think they have arrived. And I do think that it's a time for us to lead the transformation so others can help us help them. And in the process, get more Manishas out there who can really see hope. And I don't think hope's a good strategy by itself, but it does start the process of participating and giving. I'm going to go back to Monica and perhaps Terry a little bit, and we're going to sort of wrap us up here and set the stage for Chantel to tell us the story of Rwanda in our next session. Manisha, is there any last thoughts you'd like to leave us with? And I know we're going to come back to how you can participate, but that's beautiful. Thoughts? You're okay?
Thank you. I'm really glad that we were able to share this great program's information story with your audience, Andy. Thank you for the opportunity.
I am too. Monica, how do we begin to make people understand that this isn't, to Manisha's point, it's not an event you go to any more than it's just a webinar you watch. This is a transformative program that people have to be engaged in and want to participate through. And it isn't others, it's us. Monica, your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, Andy, you asked about, the content of the program itself, which was developed over a number of years. And so in Manizha's case in Afghanistan, they're working their way through the program. They're writing business plans by the end of the course. They're, being engaged with mentors, sometimes through e-mentors. So some of your listeners might be interested in becoming an e-mentor, which just means you're going to do it, over Zoom. But that's great. And I've done it for a number of years, and it's extremely rewarding. You get as much as you give. You probably get more than you give, right? It's so valuable to be a part of that. So they're really getting some basic business skills that are incredible, but they're coming through the program with that business plan in hand, with marketing ideas. Manizha's helping them with exporting, with a range of issues. So very, very practical skills. But I think so important is just building that sisterhood, that network. Terry and I were on that first welcome call with the last class from Afghanistan. And I looked at those faces and I was so incredibly moved, because we all know what they're, we understand what they're going through in terms of being, shut into their homes. And the fact that they are so strong and resilient and still have hope, and that the Peace Through Business program is helping give them that hope through the opportunity and the education that we're providing, is just so incredibly moving. I'm not sure, I don't think Manizha mentioned the fact that we had triple the number of women applying this year for spots in the program. We have about 35 spots. in a class. And I think, Manizha, you told us you had over 120 women apply for those openings. She had to make some painful decisions, but seeing that a number of those women couldn't get into that initial class, she looked at other ways that she could help the rest of those women, connecting them, offering mentoring, continuing to build out resources. So we see that the need is greater than ever in Afghanistan. I worry that people have forgotten about the country, that they're just not focused on it. But what we see is what we're doing is more important than ever. And, Andi, thank you for letting us share that message, because I think we just really need to shout that from the rooftop, that there are such compelling stories there. There are so many women who need the program, and we have just got to be there for them. It's so important. Leading into Chantel, and I know in her second podcast we'll talk about that, but equally moving stories as well that we've watched post-genocide in Rwanda, and then the fact that Chantel has really helped build the program beyond Rwanda to immigrant women, mainly African immigrant women who are now living in the UK and Canada. When we were on that welcome call for her program, I was amazed at how many women there were from all over the world, from Haiti, now from South Africa, who are finding the program so important to building their basic business skills. And again, becoming a part of the Peace Your Business alumni program and network, which is just so powerful.
And the sisterhood is powerful. That is really of women helping women. It's not about me, it's about we. It's not about what I can achieve, it's how we can rise together. And Monica, when we wrote Women Mean Business, the book, and we began to present, several women said, if I climb the ladder, I have to bring people up with us. And this is so much about, it's not about Manizha and what she's achieved. It's how we can lift everybody together to do better. Mm-hmm. Terry, last thoughts for this first webinar on it. And then I'll wrap us up and we can begin to think about what we want to do in the second one. That'll help us understand what we're doing in Rwanda with Peace Through Business. Last thoughts, Terry?
I think that what Manizha is doing is great, and she's going to put a lot of people to work and help them, and she's been doing that. So I really love her for that. Chantal, just a great person that wants to sit down and get everybody done. I mean, she is devastated to get everything. She's great. I mean, I couldn't tell you how great she is. So she's going to be talking about that. And I appreciate that, because you need to be doing that. So onward.
Yeah. And Andi, if I might just share very quickly, we always say, in the enterprising women community, it's not enough to run a great business. Yes, that's important. It takes a ton of work, but you've got to give back in significant ways. So if you're looking for a really significant way to make a difference in the world, I can't think of a better example than the Peace Through Business program.
Yes. I can't either. And I have a hunch, Chantel and Manizha are going to think about Terry and Monica with the same deep affection that you have expressed for them. I mean, this really is it's a time for us to come together to help others. Let me wrap this up, because it is an On the Brink with Andi Simon podcast. And I just wanted to thank the folks out who come to listen and bring us others to interview. Our podcast was ranked number 18 on the top 100 podcasts globally for change. And I've been doing this for 7 years, and I'm in awe of how things can keep going and for no reason. Why are we doing this? To share. And the sharing is really more important than anything else. And as I'm listening to you talk about Afghanistan, and we'll hear about Rwanda, the question is, how can this technology be of value to them as a way of sharing with each other what's happening? What is podcasting? It's become the new newspaper. It's where people get their stories and how they learn to do things. And so it becomes an interesting opportunity to think about how to multiply. For all of you who do come, I can't thank you enough for helping us help you. And our job is to help you see, feel, and think in new ways. I know you're feeling differently now, and you're seeing an opportunity to become part of something bigger than any of us. So our tagline is from observation to innovation, and today is a day to begin to change. Thank you, ladies. Terry and Monica, Chantel will come back to you in a moment. And Manisha, thank you both. Thank you all. And I'm going to turn off our recording and say this has been a great podcast. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.